So this is the 18-55 3.5 to 5.6 IS STM lenses. There's also a 4 to 5.6 IS STM, which is a bit newer and optically allegedly a bit better. But I think this one, for the price and the performance it gets you, this is all the kit lens you need. I wanted to talk about this lens not only because I like this lens, I think it's a very nice, affordable lens to have in your bag, but also as a counterweight to all the very expensive lenses that you see being reviewed on YouTube. And just to prove to you guys that you don't need a very expensive lens as long as you have good technique, and obviously good lighting helps as well. So we're going to just launch into it, and we're going to talk about the good, the bad of this lens, and finally we'll look at some sample images as usual. Well, the thing that stands out the most is the price. Now, you can find this lens refurbished for $100, guys, which means you can buy it used for under $100. I believe you can buy it new white box for $120. It's probably still available as a kit with some entry-level DSLRs. And by the way, guys, kit lenses have come a really long way. It took me a while to get over the stigma of a kit lens, because back in the day I used the early 18-55 EFS that were bundled with the initial Canon APS-C DSLRs, and you know what, those lenses weren't very good. Okay, back then it was fine because we were transitioning from film to digital and all was forgiven. But they have come a really long way in terms of image quality. Thanks to computer-aided design, Canon and other manufacturers have been able to give us optical quality that was very difficult to pull off in the early days. Very sharp throughout the range. Actually, I was really surprised. Usually you have to stop down lenses, which is to say you can't shoot it wide open at 3.5. You'd have to stop it down to 5.6 to get some kind of reasonable sharpness. But this lens is actually sharp throughout. I think once you step it down even a third or half of a stop, you're going to reap a lot of the benefits. So for example, if at the widest setting you can open it up to 3.5, I'll shoot it at 4, and maybe at 5.6, you know, I'll shoot it at 6.3 or 7.1, and you do get most of the optical benefits. Now, Canon and other manufacturers know that, you know, you have to make these kit lenses very sharp because beginners really value sharpness almost above everything else. And the thing to remember is sharpness is not the only good quality of a lens. You know, once you start getting more experience, you enter the bokeh phase, and then you start looking at the quality of the out of focus areas. This thing is only 203 grams. Okay, 200 grams, that's 7.2 ounces. That's very little. It weighs almost nothing. It's not going to weigh your bag down. You can easily pack it with you on a trip. Great for hiking, travel, that kind of thing. It has a very typical filter thread, 58 millimeters, which means you can buy cheap filters to put on it that are not going to break the bank. I wouldn't personally even bother with putting protective / UV filters on a lens like this. In fact, I don't use UV filters at all, but this certainly cuts down on the cost of adding a cheap circular polarizer filter, for example, which can really expand the creative envelope of what you can do. It also focuses extremely quick, and I don't really have to demonstrate this to you because the focusing speed is almost imperceptible. I mean, it's really, really fast. When I first got this lens, I thought it was broken because I wasn't used to the focusing speed of these newer STM lenses. Anytime you see STM on Canon lenses, it probably means it's a recent lens because it's using this new technology. It focuses internally very quickly, and that makes it actually extremely popular for video shooters. It has 4 stops of image stabilization, as Canon claims. Now in practice, I found that it's closer to 3 stops, but honestly, anything above 2 stops of image stabilization at this price is an absolute godsend. You can hand hold this lens and get very sharp results at 1/30th of a second, 1/15th of a second. And one of the attractions of this lens is the fact that it has a close focus distance of 25 centimeters or less than a foot, which, you know, is quite remarkable because this isn't a macro lens, but it kind of acts as a quasi-macro lens. You can absolutely use it for product shots, maybe for your e-commerce store, or even just creative macro stuff, flowers and all that, because of this close focus distance. The construction of this lens leaves a lot to be desired. So it's very plasticky. There are no metal elements as far as I can tell, so some compromises were made. Well, you do get the autofocus, manual focus switch here, and the IS on and off switch here, which we should be thankful for. You know, sometimes on these newer Nikon AFP lenses, they force you to do this stuff in camera. So Canon does give you these two switches, but there is no aperture ring, there is no focus distance scale. At the back we can see here it uses a plastic lens mount. So plastic construction all around, not weather sealed, not water resistant. Don't take it out in rain or snow, don't go swimming with it. Okay, it's not going to hold up to the elements. It's just a symptom of the times, guys. I don't know if this is going to be a controversial opinion, but I know in the last few years I've personally noticed quality of a lot of products has been going down. Things are not quite built to the specification that they used to be. We're kind of building electronics to be disposable with planned obsolescence in mind. So if it survives over 2 years, we should already be thankful. And I think this lens is just an example of margins go down in the camera industry. Canon, in order to survive, has to somehow be profitable, and so they've cut a lot of the material costs down while still retaining the good optical formula, because that that can be done on computer. But the optical design team and then the manufacturing design teams, they're in two completely different locations, often in different countries. Okay, so this lens was made in Taiwan, not Japan. But the point is, it's still an extremely high quality product, guys. Do not get me wrong. It's just that you shouldn't expect the kind of build and solid feeling that you'd get from the older professional lenses that you may be used to. It doesn't expand too much when you zoom in and out. It's very smooth. To manually zoom in and out goes from 18 to 55 quite quickly. Some people may see this as a negative if they want a longer focus throw for video. Some people might see that as a positive, like me, when I just want to quickly go from 18 to 55. Okay, guys, in terms of buying advice, I think it's quite important. Do not buy the older 18 to 55 kit lenses, like the really old ones. Sometimes you'll see them being sold on the secondary markets, people just trying to make money. Make sure it has at least image stabilization. Not even necessarily if you need it, but just the fact that it has image stabilization will mean that it's a newer lens. So I don't care if it's the 18 to 55 second version, doesn't matter. Go for something with image stabilization, and I would personally recommend this lens or the 4-5.6 IS STM variant of this lens, which is very similar but optically maybe a little better. Overall, guys, it's a very useful focal range, 18 to 55. It's the standard lens, the equivalent of, you just multiply both of these numbers by 1.6, so something like 28 to 80 off the top of my head. So it's a very, very useful focal range. 18 is decently wide. You can even do basic astrophotography with it, believe it or not. And 55 is long enough where you can do some basic portraiture. Now, because it's a variable aperture lens, 3.5 to 5.6, it's not going to give you that creamy bokeh or out of focus areas that you may want if you're doing portraits. So for that, I would recommend the 50mm, also very affordable, 50mm 1.8. So the bokeh isn't going to blow you away, the construction is not going to blow you away, but I think the optical quality for the price may pleasantly surprise you. You stop it down, even half a stop, full stop, and you can get acceptable, sharp results throughout the frame. There is some minor distortion, especially at the corners, but if you're using any kind of modern image software to process your images, like for example Lightroom or Photoshop, that gets taken care of via an automatic lens correction, because this is a very, very common lens, and the lens profile should be available in any camera software. There is also some chromatic aberration, but honestly I found it to be quite well controlled. Well, that's about it from me, guys. I hope you found this little review helpful. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.